Hello and welcome to the Side One YouTube channel. My name is Ray, and in this video the Robo patch for the Raspberry Pi part 2 we'll continue on from where we left off in the last video. So in the last video, of the specifications that I had conforming to the Raspberry Pi Foundation's requirements, that was the shape of the board, the header location, and having the EEPROM for the ID, were all part of that board. Provision for a 4-pin header to supply 5 volt in the I2C bus, that was completed. I also had the NPU 6050 on the board, and I'd mounted on the PCA 9685 16-channel servo driver onto the board. So in this video we're going to look at, I'm going to skip over section 5 because I'm going to put all of that on a second board which I haven't yet designed, but I do want to have, along with the INAs, I do want to have the ADS 1115 and the MPR 121 and a PCF 8574 if I can fit it on there. So let's have a look at the schematic as soon as I find it. And what I've done is, I had in the last video the NPU 6050 down here. I've now moved it up here in the schematic just so I can fit more on this page. There's the PCA 9685 as I talked about in the last video, my level shifter for the I2C, and this was the ID EEPROM. What I've added on now is, down here we have the MPR 121, and that's our 12-channel capacitive touch sensor. So it has its own I2C, or it connects onto the I2C bus. It has an IRQ output which I haven't connected to anything yet because I didn't know if I wanted to. I may yet do something like I have over here with the jumper onto a Raspberry Pi pin. Something that I've still got to consider, and I've configured this for the first address. So it's on a fixed address. I didn't actually write down what that address is, but it is in our documents. So the MPR 121 is configured for the first address, which is 0x5A. And it looks like we can have 4 of those on there. And brought that out to a header that will go on the PCB. I've also added in here the PCF 8574 and brought that out to a header, and it's configured for its first address. Now, depending on which chip we use, it'll either be a 0x27 or 0x37X. And I've also added in 2 ADS 1115 analog to digital converters and connected them to a header. On the header I've also added 3 volt and ground. And each of these chips have got their own capacitor across the supply. So this has gone onto my circuit board, so you can see the circuit board. This outline over on the right hand side here is the start of the next board, which I haven't completed yet, so we're not going to look at that today. So I've put the MPR 121 down here. For some reason it doesn't actually show the chip when I do render this out. I don't know why that is, but they're connected to the touch inputs here. Up here I have the PCF 8574, and that connects down to its header for its output. You can see there's a smoothing capacitor there, and I think it's this one is the smoothing capacitor for here on the power for the chip itself. And then over on this side, we've got the two just here, ADS 1115s, and their outputs here. So I think from memory I put a resistor in each one of these outputs just to make sure that it works correctly, and you'll find those listed in the schematic as well. So let's render that up to a 3D view, and here we have it, and this is how the board's going to look when it's all finished. So I've got most of my base requirements on there. I may yet add in a jumper like this for an interrupt from the likes of U6, which is the NPR 121, and also one from U7, which is the PCF. And there are interrupts available from memory on the ADS as well. I haven't been using them in my robot lab, so I haven't allowed for that yet, but we might even bring those out. It might be a case of linking those back to either the Raspberry Pi bus, or we could potentially link the interrupts from U6, U4 and U5 back into the pins on U7 with jumpers, and then just have the one interrupt from U7 up. So these are still options I've got to look at. Alright, so one of the things that I need to look at as well, and if I can find the right board, I've started looking at the INA 219. So that's the chip there. I'm just going to zoom in on this. And there's really nothing to this. We can just connect the 3.3 volt SDA and 3.3 volt SCL, which come off the connector to the other board. And we have a resistor, a 1 ohm resistor, that will be in series with the power for the servos. Now I think what I'll do is go with 8 of these, and that way I can configure the first 2 servos will be connected to the first INA 219. The third servo will be jumpered to connect between either the first or the second INA 219, and the third the fourth servo will be connected to just the second INA 219, and I'll repeat that pattern. The idea is the third servo can be connected to either one or the other. So I can configure the board so that it's good for like a Spot Micro dog, where I have 3 servos as part of a leg, and that gives me a fourth one that is independent of that leg. So I could use that for an arm or a tail, or to move the head around or something like that on a modification. And then I repeat that for each group of 4. So that'll be in the next video when I get to that one. So this video is going to be a little bit shorter because I'm not actually going through all the specifications today. So with that in mind, contains 4 or more INA 219 current sensors, will be covered by having 8. I can't have 16. It would be great if I could have every servo had its own INA 219. But if you look at the address space for the ADS 1115s, so the 9th INA 219 would be on the same address as one of the ADS 1115s, and even if I've only got a very short address space that I can configure those in, so at least 4 of those addresses could potentially be used by the analog input unit out of the 16 available addresses. So I'm better off just sticking with 8, and it's a nice round number anyway. So we'll see how we go when I draw all that up. So if you like these videos, don't forget to click on like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It's a form of support to help the channel a great deal and costs you absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the channel further, I do have a Patreon account, and you can join my VIP Go Lucky and my Builder patrons Elmorales45 and White Wolf in supporting the channel. I also have a Discord server, and there will be a link in the description to the Patreon and Discords. If you've got any questions, either leave a comment in the video below or drop into Discord and ask a question there. And we'll see you in the next video.